Wow, it's hot today. It's early in the morning and it's 81 degrees. I think that's like 27 and change in Celsius, and humid. But we're going to ride today. It'll be nice. So I'm probably going to talk on this one. Sometimes I talk, sometimes I don't. Let me know in the comments whether I should talk or whether you like the rides without any um, dialogue at all. Thanks. All right, we're gonna head up to the college today. That's not too bad once you get moving. Steamy though. You know, as far as talking on these things is concerned, I did one of these already. I don't know if it's on the website. If it's on YouTube, it's on YouTube. If not, it's not. But I'm kind of self-conscious about what I'm saying. I'm not one to put, as much as I am to put my projects online, I'm not one to share a whole lot of opinion or perspective online. And I don't really see the harm in it, but I feel like it's one of those things where you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Maybe there's more risk of someone not liking something you said than liking something you said. And that risk just gets higher the more you say, I guess. Haven't ridden in a few days. Yesterday was my birthday. See, I'm already doxing myself. Nothing you couldn't find if you looked me up, though, I guess. And I assume. This is always a tricky intersection. People don't always stop. College of DuPage has a nice campus. I like riding through there. It also reminds me of when I was a kid. That's the community college I went to. I thought on occasion it might be fun to go back and take calculus or physics. I don't know what's changed, but you know, I get my old calculus books out and that goes away pretty quick. You know, I just don't have a lot of practical need to learn that stuff. I mean, I could relearn it and then I won't have any occasion to use it. I'll just forget it all again. So I did really like and learned a lot from the statics and dynamics class, though. You know, how to calculate loads and design mechanical assemblies and eliminate vibrations and those kinds of things. I took the class initially to traffic here. I took the class initially to do a race car game for vehicular physics, but you know, that game actually fell through, and it was pretty fun learning about that, though. I learned about, not in that class, but I read a book on the history of open wheel racing and all of the innovations that started out as cheats, and how the clever engineering led to all kinds of solutions to what's effectively a giant
And even if you don't hear this, voice, whatever. What do you call this? Dialogue. Even if you don't hear all this dialogue, I'll probably still make a hyperbike video for this little route. Even though it's hazy and overcast, it's still nice. Came over here and flew my drones around here a couple of times. In this area, it's nice and wide open, doesn't bother anybody. Flying between these trees is fun. Although flying around trees is hardly what drone pilots call fun. Trees just reach out and grab them. So, but the parking lot was empty when we were out here for the most part. Now it's pretty full. I had a brand new peanut camera on my Nazgul 6S 5-inch drone and was flying through there and didn't see a branch hanging down from the tree and whacked that, but the brand new $280 action camera was hit by one of the propellers and it pushed the diffuser into the lens and just completely destroyed it. There's no replacement parts or anything. And what's funny is I didn't find the camera right away. The peanut camera, it's little. It's just a couple inches long and an inch square-ish, and maybe 30 millimeters, but you know, roughly that size. And it broke off the drone. I don't know how much crossover there is between bike riding, YouTube videos, and drone pilots, but man, don't print anything for your drone in TPU or ABS or PLA. Just use, I'm sorry, just use TPU. I meant PETG, ABS, or PLA, because all that shit breaks. And the other thing I can't emphasize enough is manufacturers stop making all the accessories for quads black. They absolutely disappear in the foliage. I mark everything with retroflective neon yellow and orange tape so that I have a chance of finding it in the inevitable mishap. But anyway, yeah, so hard plastic mounts have let me down multiple times. But oh, what's this? Navigated, I guess. TPU's awesome. Tough as nails. I'm real slow. I'm going to come around on your right. Coming around on your right. No, you're good. You're good. I'm a dog person. So I ended up getting a replacement camera for that Caddx Peanut because it was a really good camera. It's in motion stabilization internally on its own, and I took it out to the Aurora Barnstormers airfield. I was flying drones and planes with my dad and some friends over there, and my dad lost a plane in the woods, which happens very often for everybody. The airfield is just surrounded by forest preserve, and so I went looking for it, and I skipped my whole pre-flight checklist. I just threw a battery on my quad and zipped it out there with a brand new action camera, and I lost the quad. I never found it. The quad had GPS, which I did not wait for it to sync up to the satellites. It had a crash beeper, which I did not, coming through nice and slow. It had a crash beeper, which I did not honestly know how to use, and I turned it off because I didn't like the beeping right when it started. I think it was beeping because the GPS didn't have a sync yet. And my goggles nowadays are configured to record from the moment you plug them in. But back then, they weren't. So I had no goggle footage of where it went down, the FPV goggle footage. I had no no GPS location where it went down. I had no crash beeper, and I've been back to that forest 4 times. I think that was about a $600 bill I left in the woods, including that brand new camera. When it crashed, I think the battery was ejected because the video went down on impact, or even before I ever saw the ground in the goggles. So, and I marched around in those woods for hours upon hours. On the day of the crash, I was looking for the Bluetooth signal from that action camera, or the signal from the video transmitter in the plane. I knew the battery was ejected, but that camera had its own battery, and obviously never found it. So, oh well. I did not buy a third Cadix camera. These days I'm using this GoPro. Oh, look, summer school's in session. You gotta be extra careful around these kids. And I've liked this. This is the GoPro Hero 4K. Some say it's economical, but I bought it because it's lightweight and small. It's a good fit for the drones. Sandpiper or something. You really need eyes in the back of your head around here. A lot of distracted driving. I won't drive over here. I won't ride over here during the regular active school year. Here, I'll go be a menace. Obviously went to school with a bunch of people. I didn't make a lot of friends that I kept. Even the friends that I went to school here with, that I knew beforehand, I'm no longer in touch with anymore. You know, it's a funny thing about growing up and getting older. It gets harder and harder to meet friends, or at least have meaningful adult relationships. The little screens don't make it any easier because everyone doesn't have to go out and meet each other to socialize. All the socialization's happening on their glowing rectangles. And also, a lot of the people that I meet, I don't have a lot in common with. I belong to a makerspace, and I frequently say that, other than liking to play poker, I don't have a lot in common with my neighbors. I'm not a big sports fan, but I like 3D printing and CNC machines and building machines and software and AI. Don't get on me about AI. I mean, I get it, but oh, I wanted to cut up the sidewalk there. Oh, sidewalk here. So I guess I'm just not meeting the right people. And I don't go out of my way to meet the right people. Maybe I should put a little more effort into that. You know, when you're kids, you have to go to school. At high school and college, and you're kind of forced to be together. And when you grow up and you get jobs, you're still forced to be together. You know, some of my best friends today are work friends, not people I grew up with or went to school with. But still, I've been trying to, when I meet new people, trying not to talk about myself. I think about what it was like when I was 18 years old. And I hadn't done anything, and I hadn't been anywhere. And still managed to meet people and make connections. And enjoy getting to knowing people and getting to know people and doing interesting new things with them without talking about everywhere I'd been or everything I'd done. When you talk about the places you've been and the things you've done, it sounds like you're kind of done, over. Hope I'm not done. I got too many projects on my to-do list to call it done. Anyway, that's kind of rambling. I should say I met some really interesting people that I consider my very good friends in the Makerspace, Workshop 88 in Glen, Ellyn. Kindred spirits for sure. But you know, the people also have different backgrounds and expertise and interests. It's just good to hang around with creative people. People with some technical ability too. I want to check out the new art exhibit down here. Let's see. Oh, is it gone already? There's only one left out here. It's a good one though. That's cool. Yeah, there used to be, I think, 7 or 8. I'm not going to get too close to it. That's cool. Oh, there's another one. Okay, they spread them around the campus. Maybe we'll see some more. This was a fun place to fly the little drones around. I like flying the drones, and there's a good community of people who fly the drones. Oh yeah, check it out. They must have moved them all around for the beginning of the school year. That's cool. Oh, who's over there? Gotta go see. Anyway, they're good people. I just don't want to get too involved in the drone racing scene. It's a lot of travel, a lot of time commitment, and it's a little expensive. And the time commitment isn't all just going and hanging out with your friends. You go out and break all your shit every time you go out with people. I mean, if you're not pushing yourself, you're not competitive, you know. You get that's the way you get better. But it gets a little pricey. I'm back on my normal route. I kind of took some detours there to see the artwork. I mean, you may recognize all this from a drone video I did a couple of years ago. Department of Homeland Security training there. All your police officer and security guard and TSA needs, I think. They do drone training with DJI drones, I noticed, which are banned. I don't know if, I mean, I haven't seen it since the ban. So I'd expect they'd be following the rules, but I haven't seen a fly zone. I forgot what they call that. Not a TFR, that means no fly zone. Shucks. I'll think of it later and I'll blurt it out. Yeah, this is nice. No people, no cars. I can relax a little bit. Oh, it's hot and sticky. I think I'm going to cruise over through the subdivisions over there. FRIA, that's what it's called when you have an airspace that you're allowed to fly model aircraft in without a remote ID module. But my quads have, all my aircraft have remote ID modules, so nothing to worry about. It's also a good GPS finder if I lose them again. The remote ID module has a GPS in it. You can find it with a phone. I've only ever had to use that so far to find the remote ID module, which has popped off my quad a couple of times. Kind of stupid to think that Velcro would hold it on. I have more of a strap now for it. park there. I'm looking forward to a shower, a cup of iced coffee at home. Always a big debate when I was a kid whether you should ride your bike into traffic where you encounter more cars, like that one that seemed to weave towards me, or whether you should go with traffic and encounter less cars but not be able to see the ones that are weaving towards you. Obviously you could see where my vote is. Though this car may not be able to see me right away. There, she saw me. Here we go. Survived another intersection. It's not a funny joke. I've been hit by a car before. Someone I went to high school with got run over. By a truck. Right after the turn of the century, 2002, I was really into radio controlled cars and making a video with a friend of mine, who he's still really into all that RC stuff, but we did some filming out here. It was fun. Jumped over these fences invented a truggy. We put big truck tires onto a Kyosho MP6 buggy, and that thing tore it up, man. Actually, all those videos are that we made a DVD and sold it, and all those videos are on YouTube. So if you search for the Naked RC Going Wild YouTube channel and videos, you can find all of our ridiculous jackass stuff with cars and trucks. I should say I'll put a link in the corner. I don't know if that works. Try that out. AirPods. Hi, I'm coming around on your left. Tons of room. We're good. Yay. Heard and signaled. She's a winner. Passed my test. I was just going to do a short little bike ride today, but this is really pleasant. I'll pop through here. I love these soft curves over here. They make it so easy to go up and down. If you need to. Tires need air again. Been noodling around on an interesting project. I take a lot of pictures of my projects, and every month month I organized them into a set of folders, because as soon as I got my first digital camera, and then you know, cell phones with cameras, I'm dating myself there, I take pictures of my projects half the time to remember how things go back together, but also to kind of share them with anyone who might be interested. And I used to save them all on Google, if you remember Google Picasa, but they end of life that service, along with thousands of my photos, which are no longer shareable. And before you say, oh, just use Google Photos, they don't allow you to browse albums the way you used to be able to, so it doesn't work for me. Anyway, so without a good solution, and also afraid of investing so much energy in the cloud, and by now, remember, this was, some of this goes back to, you know, 25 years. Man, I sound old. Anyway, yeah, now I have like around 200,000 photos, and that's, I don't know, 100 gig, 200 gig, I don't know. They're not a gig a piece, but it's a lot. It's too much to really practically think about uploading them to a website, even though they would get, you know, reduced and everything. And managing thousands of albums spanning that period of time, I just don't want to do it. I've already got the files curated into well-named sorted folders, dated folders. So I just recently found Picasa 2. There's a ton of free and open source photo gallery solutions, and if you want to self-host, you know, if I don't want to upload all my pictures, I've got to figure out a way to self-host, which comes with a whole bunch of problems. You know, I really don't want to have to be on top of a open ports in my router onto my network, and having to manage the day-to-day security of having a web server up and running that's available to the wild web. So I recently came upon this solution where if you host your low traffic, no need to hyperscale photo gallery on a local machine, I could use a reverse proxy through a VCP, a virtual computing platform, which is a lightweight virtual machine in the cloud. It's cheap, and the virtual machine has the IP address, it has the domain routed to it, and then it runs a web service with a reverse proxy. So my server signs into that. My server runs software that connects to that proxy, so web requests get forwarded to my machine through a secure encrypted tunnel that isn't an open port in the router, and they're serviced that way. So it's secure and it's cheap, low risk. I don't think anything's without risk, but I can't see the vulnerability there. And so I've been working on that. There's a lot of photo gallery solutions. The crowd favorite these days is Imich, I-M-M-I-C-H, but you really have to import photos and manage albums and galleries and stuff. The reason I like Picasa 2, and I'm not running it on a Pi, I could, but I'm not, is that it's folders first. So I really had pointed at my collection of folders, and it will make the gallery and the albums for me without any additional work, which is super nice. But my photos, especially the current ones from my modern cell phones, they're ginormous. So I got on a side quest to make scripts that would allow me to reduce the resolution, add a watermark, and add a logo to each of my photos and each of my videos. And I used Image Magic for the photos and FFmpeg for the videos. Those are my favorite tools for processing those types of media. But it was challenging, and those are called from Python scripts that are called from batch files, and but it works. In the end, I have a system where I can either rebuild the whole photo library using a whitelist, which I get just from doing a directory of the photo library as it is, or I can hand edit it, or a drag and drop. So I can drag and drop folders onto a batch file, and it will process all of the different types of media inside. Anyway, so with a little help from a very confused ChatGPT and a less confused bit of a shortcut or a false economy to do them. I wonder what that person's doing. If anyone's behind them. There we go. So at this point in my rambling, they're not perfect. I need to There's still some issues with image rotations in different formats. Like HEIC is really different than MP4 and MOV, and but one special case at a time, we'll get it all sorted. And the key is to get it sorted without breaking everything else. Anyway, so I'm starting to get my pictures converted. Oh, and it reduces their resolution to be no longer than 1280 on the longest edge. And I have to orient the watermark the correct way, and the logo needs to be in the correct corner. There's a lot of details in there, but it's all working. And oh, this is funny. So I tried to install the photo gallery software. I tried it out on a laptop, and it worked, and I liked it. I noodled around with it a bit, and so then I thought, okay, I'm going to put this on my server. Now, my server I put in place several years ago so that I could access my local network remotely from work or on the train. And it holds some Git repositories, and it just provides a secure SSH connection host. And it doesn't do much else than that. And for that, my son's old HP Pavilion from 2007 that originally had Windows Vista on it was just fine. But in order to run the photo library, it's best to run it in a Docker container. Docker runs virtual environments that are kind of like virtual machines. And when in the middle of installing Docker on that machine, I discovered that it doesn't have the virtualization hardware necessary to do it. So I had to pivot day before yesterday and get everything installed and set up on another laptop that lives out in the garage. It's not new, it's just newer, but it has modern enough hardware that we can run Docker and everything runs well in it. That computer was a salvaged Ubuntu, a salvaged laptop that I put Ubuntu on, and up until now, its primary use was playing music in my workshop and then handling the occasional ELRS radio configuration for my drones and planes. But now it looks like it's going to be pressed into more consistent service, and which is fine. I plugged it in a kilowatt and found out that you know, idly, it takes about 10 watts, which is amazing to me that a computer could take only 10 watts to run constantly. And I think I figured out that at our rates here in Illinois, that will cost me like 75 cents a month. And if, you know, people actually access my website, it might cost me $1 a month. So the cost is, as expected, not prohibitive. Anyway, I'll update you on a future video, and you know, maybe share a link to my website when I get it done. And hopefully I don't run into any more big roadblocks or security issues. So it's time for a shower. If you made it this far, I'm sorry. My rambling, I know, can be hard to listen to. I'm just kidding. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, ring that bell. And again, tell me what you think, or tell me what you think would make this better. You know, I could be quiet for the whole ride. I've done that before. I could yammer for the whole ride if I can catch my breath. And, you know, if there's any requests. Oh, also the hyperlapse stuff that I do, the hyperbike, I can make that faster or slower. I mean, that if I kind of like the 150 miles per hour, but it's very easy to make more of those videos. I could it doesn't cost me anything. So anyway, thanks for hanging around, and see you next time.